I haven't left my house in 27 years. You might think it's strange, but maybe you've never heard of the little-known television show. A family favorite. One that I watch all day, every day, dare I say it. Consumes my life and being. And yet, like a man's flesh being rendered from his skin, being fed to a live bear and orangutan. Son, I demand more. The show was about a dancing, jovial bear who didn't wear pants and the makeshift ragtag team of animal friends who danced and swayed to the music while flying a plane. It was brilliant. I chose it over friends, family, showering. I would even go outside and order Uber Eats, and prior to Uber Eats, I'd just yell at people outside of my home and demand they bring food to me. And now, here I sit, king of the Talespin VHS library, holding all copies of the show. I'm not just talking about every episode. I own every Talespin VHS, having bought every last one off eBay, hoarding them in my home, surrounding myself, burying myself in Talespin. I filled up my bathtub with Talespin VHS tapes and began to dance, doing the backstroke as the hard plastic cover got lodged in my scoliosis back brace and I fell over crying. Then I saw it. A tape among tapes. One of the thousands, millions, billions, all these tapes. I lost count. The lost episode of Talespin. Perhaps I bought it through sheer incident, or perhaps the VHS gods bestowed a gift upon me, king among men, the master of Talespin, for being such a dedicated viewer indeed. I put the tape in and the bear began to dance. Dance, did he? Oh, I say, he was quite the dancer, dancing, shaking on his plane, dancing and shaking non-stop. I suddenly heard a beep. It was the intercom. If you can hear this, please turn the plane around. The bear continued dancing as he grabbed the steering wheel and pulled it to the left, his yellow jacket covered in blood. The orangutan, Louis, a fun-loving orangutan, was holding a human skull and crying, demanding to know why God made him an orangutan. It's a good question. Cursing the air, shaking his fist, crying. What the fuck was going on? This was not TV Y7 appropriate, and I was beginning to get concerned as the man on the intercom demanded to know who was controlling the plane. Evidently, Baloo the big bear was not a pilot and was simply the animals in the cargo bay. It had broken free, killed the pilot, had his family, and, we're now slowly drifting through the skies as the plane spun out of control, eating the remains of his family. Put this in your pipe and smoke it. He tried to open the cargo bay door to throw a pineapple, but instead all of the air was sucked out of the cockpit and several animals flew off, screaming into the Atlantic Ocean, never to be seen again. Wait a minute. Smoking? That's not what Smokey the Bear taught me years ago. Who the fuck was this bear? The camera cut to the orangutan who was now wearing his seatbelt, worshipping a picture of Joseph Stalin. I can't pretend to have been shocked and appalled at what I was seeing, and, this was Talespin. I dedicated my entire life to watching this program all day, every day, for my entire life. That was all I lived for. It's all that gave me meaning. And now I come to find that the fucking orangutan was worshipping Joseph Stalin. You see the door finally snap shut as the orangutan unbuckles his seatbelt and slowly makes his way up to the cockpit. The pilot on the other line demanded he turn around as the camera cut to a dead child in a booster seat on the passenger side. The fuck? A dead rat woman lay on the floor with visible lesions and her entrails pouring out of her torn stomach with hot melted cheese covering her legs and in her thighs. Makes sense. Rats love cheese. Caribbean music began to play as the orangutan fumbled with the buttons. The animation was the same quality as usual, and you see the plane zipping, spinning as it heads toward its intended destination. You hear the pirate desperately try to communicate as the screaming chimp slams his bloodied fists on the buttons. Pilot demands to know where he's going. The orangutan continues to screech louder, not speaking English as he did on the show, merely screeching inaudible orangutan screeches, panicking more as the plane begins to take a nosedive. The pilot tries to instruct the orangutan on how to do an emergency landing, but the orangutan doesn't speak English. Merely screeches louder and louder as the plane starts accelerating at over 100 miles per hour. I let out a shriek of horror as I saw the plane crash into one of two towers and explode, bursting into flames as the sound of the orangutan screeching grew louder and more disturbing. As the dust clears, you see a smiling orangutan skeleton, permanently fossilized with a disheveled grin on its face, holding a coconut tiki drink and giving what just might be the middle finger to the American television viewing public. Could be a peace sign. I don't have good vision. I shut the tape off. This was disturbing. Supposedly, if you were to keep watching, there'd be certain references to Adolf Hitler, the notorious German dictator, and thus the show only ever aired dubbed on German TV one other time, never to be seen again. The rumor is that they were actually human pirates who were stricken with a terrible curse, so they'd not be able to speak or interpret English and forced to spend their days in a traveling circus, performing for unassuming passers-by as they pled to be free of their hairy bodily prisons. In 2001, the widow of the man who voiced the scat-singing orangutan filed suit against Disney for breach of contract, non-payment of royalties, unjust enrichment, fraud, negligent ape representation. Strangely enough, there's been what looks like a real orangutan ringing my doorbell and running away before I can get a good enough look to contact law enforcement. Strangely enough, if you continue watching the tape, there are references to both Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. As the animal skeletons are resurrected and put in a German museum where Hitler won World War II and everyone on planet Earth speaks the German language, eats bratwurst and complains about the weather. What's even more strange is that you see one of the orangutans having sex with a human, creating a virus that would eventually wipe out 99.9% of the population. And even stranger than that, the most strange thing, what concerned me the most was that the man having sex with the ape looked disturbingly like former President George W. Bush. Boda, 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 boda.